Imagine sitting alone in a completely silent room. No television, no traffic, no voices, just pure silence. Then suddenly you hear a steady sound. Thump, thump, thump. At first, you assume it's coming from somewhere outside. Maybe a neighbor, maybe a machine hidden behind the wall. But within seconds, you realize something unsettling. The sound isn't coming from the room at all. It's coming from inside your own chest. Before you even have time to process it, another sound appears. You hear the soft rush of air moving through your lungs every time you breathe. A few moments later, your stomach begins to gurgle and bubble. Tiny pops, squishes, and strange liquid sounds echo from deep inside your body. Suddenly, it feels as though you're trapped inside a giant machine that never stops working. Now imagine living like this every second of every day. What if you could hear every single sound your organs make? Every heartbeat, every breath, every swallow, every muscle contraction, every drop of blood racing through your arteries. Would it be fascinating? Or would it slowly become unbearable? Here's the surprising truth. Those sounds already exist. Right now, as you're watching this video, your heart is pumping blood, your lungs are moving air, your stomach is digesting food, and your intestines are constantly pushing everything forward. Your body has never been silent, not for a single second. It's performing an endless symphony of tiny mechanical movements. The only reason you don't hear any of it is because your brain is actively hiding those sounds from you. Doctors hear this hidden world every day. The moment they place a stethoscope against a patient's chest, they're listening to the sounds your brain normally erases. They can hear heart valves opening and closing, air flowing through the lungs, and even the movement of your digestive system. In many cases, those sounds reveal whether your body is healthy or if something is wrong. So these noises aren't imaginary. They're happening inside you right now. The question is, why can't you hear them? The answer has nothing to do with your ears. Your ears are actually collecting far more information than you realize. They detect countless vibrations from the world around you, including tiny vibrations produced inside your own body. But if your brain allowed you to consciously hear every single one of those sounds, your mind would become overwhelmed almost immediately. Instead, your brain performs one of the most incredible jobs in the human body. Every second, it decides which sounds deserve your attention and which ones should quietly disappear into the background. It's constantly filtering reality, allowing you to focus on what truly matters. This is the same reason you stop noticing the clothes you're wearing after a few minutes. It's why you rarely pay attention to the pressure of your chair or the feeling of your shoes touching the ground. And it's also why you almost never notice your own breathing until someone points it out. In fact, you're probably paying attention to your breathing right now. A few seconds ago, it happened automatically. Now you're consciously aware of every inhale and every exhale. Nothing about your breathing has changed. The only thing that changed is where your brain decided to focus. Now imagine that filter suddenly disappeared. Imagine hearing every heartbeat, every breath, every swallow, every tiny movement inside your body at full volume. First, it might feel amazing. You'd finally experience the hidden world that's been inside you your entire life. But how long would that excitement last? An hour? A day? A week? Let's begin with the busiest organ of them all, your heart. The average human heart beats nearly 100,000 times every single day. With every beat, it pumps blood through a network of blood vessels so vast that, if stretched end to end, they would wrap around the earth more than twice. And contrary to popular belief, your heart doesn't produce just one sound. The familiar lube-dub doctors hear through a stethoscope is actually the sound of your heart valves snapping shut. At the same time, blood rushes through your arteries, creating tiny vibrations that spread throughout your chest. Normally, your brain quietly removes almost all of these sounds before you ever become aware of them. But imagine if it didn't. Imagine hearing lube-dub, lube-dub more than once every second. While you're reading, while you're eating, while you're trying to fall asleep. The sound never stops. At first, you might find it fascinating. After a few hours, it might become distracting. After days or weeks, it could become mentally exhausting. And this isn't just science fiction. Some people actually experience something surprisingly similar. A rare condition called pulsatile tinnitus causes people to hear rhythmic sounds that match their heartbeat almost constantly. Many describe it as impossible to ignore. Some struggle to sleep. Others find it difficult to concentrate because the sound is always there, reminding them of every heartbeat their body makes. And that's just one organ. You still haven't heard your lungs, or your stomach, or your intestines. Believe it or not, those might sound even stranger. If your heart alone could become that distracting, imagine what the rest of your body would sound like. Because your heart isn't the only organ working around the clock. Every second, countless systems inside you are moving, squeezing, pumping, and flowing, completely unnoticed. And perhaps the next sound you'd hear would come from the very thing keeping you alive every moment. Your lungs. Breathing feels effortless because your brain allows it to fade into the background. You inhale thousands of times every day without giving it a second thought. But inside your chest, every breath is an extraordinary mechanical process. Air rushes through your nose, travels down your windpipe, branches into thousands of tiny airways, and finally reaches nearly 500 million microscopic air sacs called alveoli. This is where oxygen enters your bloodstream and carbon dioxide leaves your body. Every movement of air creates tiny vibrations. Those vibrations create sound. Under normal circumstances, these sounds are so quiet that only a doctor using a stethoscope can clearly hear them. But if your brain suddenly stopped filtering them out, every inhale could sound like a powerful gust of wind, while every exhale might echo like air escaping from a narrow tunnel. Running up a flight of stairs wouldn't just leave you breathless. It would sound as if an industrial air pump were operating inside your chest. But breathing isn't the only thing constantly moving inside you. Beneath your skin, an invisible river is flowing every second of your life. Your heart pumps roughly 5 liters of blood every minute through an astonishing network of blood vessels stretching nearly 60,000 miles. That blood delivers oxygen, nutrients, hormones, and immune cells to every living tissue in your body. If you could hear that circulation, your body might sound like an underground river flowing through a vast cave system. Larger arteries would produce deep rushing sounds, while smaller vessels might create faint whispers. Doctors sometimes hear unusual blood flow, known as a bruit, when blood becomes turbulent inside narrowed arteries. It's another reminder that your body is producing sounds all the time. The only reason your world feels quiet is because your brain has decided those sounds aren't important enough for your conscious mind. At this point, you might wonder about the organ we often associate with thought itself, the brain. Could you actually hear your brain thinking? Surprisingly, probably not. Although your brain communicates using billions of electrical impulses every second, those signals are incredibly tiny. They're far too weak for human ears to detect, which is why scientists need extremely sensitive machines like EEG scanners to measure them. So you wouldn't hear your thoughts as crackling electricity. Instead, you'd hear everything happening around your brain, the pulse of blood flowing through nearby arteries, the gentle movement of cerebrospinal fluid cushioning your brain and spinal cord, and the tiny muscles around your jaw, face, and neck constantly making microscopic adjustments. You wouldn't hear your ideas being formed. You'd hear the machinery that keeps those ideas alive. Now imagine the moment you finally try to sleep. The lights are off. Your room is completely silent. Normally, this is the most peaceful part of your day. But not anymore. Instead of silence, you're surrounded by your own body. Your heartbeat echoes inside your ears. Every breath sounds louder than before. Your stomach continues digesting dinner, producing bubbles, gurgles, and rhythmic contractions. Even swallowing your own saliva suddenly feels incredibly loud. There is no escape because the source of every sound is inside you. The silence you've enjoyed your entire life simply disappears. Scientists already know that unwanted noise can make it harder to sleep, increase stress levels, and reduce concentration. Now imagine carrying that source of noise with you 24 hours a day, unable to switch it off even for a moment. Sleep might become one of the hardest things to achieve. As unbelievable as this scenario sounds, some people experience parts of it in real life. Individuals with pulsatile tinnitus constantly hear a rhythmic sound synchronized with their heartbeat. Others suffer from hyperacusis, a condition in which everyday sounds become painfully loud. Some people become unusually aware of internal body sensations, noticing every heartbeat, every swallow, or every breath to a degree that creates constant anxiety. In many cases, the sounds themselves aren't dangerous. The real problem is that the brain can no longer ignore them. Something that was once hidden suddenly becomes impossible to escape. This reveals one of the most remarkable abilities of the human brain. Most people believe hearing happens in the ears, but the truth is that hearing happens in the brain. Your ears simply collect information. Your brain decides what deserves your attention. Every single second, it throws away an unimaginable amount of sensory information so you can focus on the world around you instead of becoming trapped inside your own body. Imagine trying to read a book while consciously hearing every heartbeat, every blink, every breath, every stomach contraction, and every tiny movement of your muscles. Concentrating on anything outside yourself would become almost impossible. Your brain isn't hiding those sounds because they don't exist. It's hiding them because hearing everything would make normal life incredibly difficult. And perhaps that's the most fascinating realization of all. Your body has never been silent. Not even once since before you were born. Inside you, billions of cells are working together in perfect coordination. Your heart keeps the rhythm. Your lungs provide the flow of air. Your stomach and intestines keep the machinery of digestion running. Your blood carries life through every corner of your body. And above them all, your brain conducts this extraordinary orchestra without asking for recognition. Every second, an invisible symphony is playing inside you. You simply never hear it. So what if you could hear your own organs? At first, it would probably feel like discovering a hidden superpower. You would finally witness the incredible machinery that keeps you alive every moment. But that sense of wonder wouldn't last forever. Before long, the endless stream of sounds could become exhausting, distracting, and emotionally overwhelming. The silence you enjoy every day isn't the absence of noise. It's a gift created by one of the most sophisticated filtering systems in nature. Your brain doesn't just help you experience the world. It protects you from experiencing too much of yourself. And maybe that's the greatest mystery hidden inside every human being. Sometimes the most beautiful sound is the one you'll never hear.